Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kendall. Today I'm going to be sharing all of the books or authors that are on my Kindle Unlimited TBR. Now, I am a Kindle Unlimited stan. I try to read most of my books on Kindle Unlimited just because it's a monthly subscription. I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. It isn't too expensive, but I try to read at least 2 or 3 KU books a month just so, like I said, I can get my money's worth. When I'm reading, I usually am reading like a physical copy of a book during the day, and then at night I will jump to something on my Kindle so I can read it and get comfy in bed. And then once I bought KU, I was like, I should make a list of things I want to read just so I'm not endlessly scrolling at night trying to figure out what I want to pick up. But we all know the thing about TBRs is that they are constantly being added to and they're truly never ending. So I wouldn't be surprised if this list changed in the coming months. And as I hinted, there are a couple authors on here that I just want to read their entire backlist because either I've read something of theirs or I've heard nothing but good things about their work. So I'm super excited. This KU TBR also varies by genre. So there's like romance, dark romance, fantasy, sports, all that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get into what's on my list. I will start with the authors. I have 2 authors on here at the moment. The first is Ms. Elsie Silver. I've actually never read a piece of her work. I know, hold your gasps. I've never read anything from Elsie Silver, but I recently read Done and Dusted and absolutely loved it. So I put Elsie Silver's work on here. There is the Rose Hill series, which is unfinished, and then there's Chestnut Springs, which is so beloved. I've heard literally nothing but good things about it, so I want to give it a go. And then the Gold Rush Ranch series. I put this in the reading order that Elsie herself recommends, so once I do kick in and start reading her books, I'm going to start with the Rose Hill and then go from there. The next author is an author that I've read a couple of her books of, and it's Morgan Elizabeth. So she has the Atlas Oaks series, which has All My Love, which I just recently read and loved it. There's 'Tis the Season for Revenge, which has a few books in it, but I actually read 'Tis the Season for Revenge on its own a couple of years ago and loved it. That was my first Morgan Elizabeth book, and so I was like, I want to read more. There's the Springbrook Hills series, the Mastermind Duet, and the Ocean View series. I have read the playlist from the Springbrook Hills, which is like a romance that's like totally Taylor Swift coded, and it was one of my favorite reads. So I'm really looking forward to picking up the rest of her books. I think these are like the most quick reads and they're just so fun, and the spice is so good. So if you haven't checked out Morgan Elizabeth's any of her work, definitely suggest it myself. And continuing with romance, I have some sports romance on here. I have the Briar U series by Elle Kennedy. Now, I have read the Off Campus series and love them so much, so it only makes sense that I continue with the Briar U series on KU. Continuing with romance, I have the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I read Twisted Love a year or 2 ago and really enjoyed it. I just haven't picked up the other books in the series, but they're on my TBR. The Twisted series I've heard great things about, and I feel like it's like a rite of passage in the bookish community to read them, so at some point I will. And then we have Lauren Asher. Now, I have never read a Lauren Asher book, but I know, again, she's another very beloved author, but the specific series that's on my TBR is the Dreamland Billionaires, which again, might be a surprise that I haven't read, but I've heard these are next level. I believe it's like if Walt Disney had like a grandson. I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but just basically that for the first book. So I want to pick that up, and then if I enjoy this series, move on to her next other series, because I know there's like Love Redesigned, Love Unwritten, and then even the Throttled series, which is an F1 romance series, and that I know is also very beloved, but I want to dip my toe into the Lauren Asher pond with the Dreamland Billionaires. And after that, I really want to read the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. Hopefully I said that correctly. But these are sports romances. I believe each book follows a different sport and athlete. I may be totally wrong with that, but that is my assumption. I held these off for a while just because I didn't know too much about them, and I never like dove into them based off just like the covers of what I've seen people share. but I have a family member who really loves these books, and that kind of gave me the little push to look into them, and that's how they wound up on my TBR. I'm not sure if this next series falls under romance, but it is the Knock 'Em Out by Lucy Score, which includes Things We Never Got Over, Things We Hid from the Light, and Things We Left Behind. My friend Jenna loved Things We Never Got Over, and so I wanted to give Lucy Score a try. I don't think I've read any of her books before, so that should be fun. The thing that is daunting for me about these books is I believe they're pretty long, so I've been holding them off, but hopefully I can get to them in the next year. And pivoting to thriller, this is a very popular thriller series, and it's The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I have some friends IRL as well as just in the bookish community that have read these books and love them, and I think this is one that I want to read ASAP and also do a reading vlog of. I want to do a reading vlog of a couple of these, but The Housemaid is definitely one of them. If there is a series that I've mentioned that you would like to see a reading vlog on, definitely let me know. I am open to suggestions. I've been having a lot of fun with reading vlogs, so would love to do one on one y'all might love to see. Moving on to fantasy. This is a series that might, again, surprise y'all that I haven't read, but it's the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. Again, hopefully I said those right, but I feel like so many people rave about Zodiac Academy because it's so good, but also will rip your heart out. I've heard that some of them are pretty sad or just intense, but this is another series that I've held off because the books are so big and the series is pretty long. I think there's like 9 or 10 books in the series at least, but I really want to pick this up. This is another one I think I want to do a reading vlog on, but we shall see. From my understanding, this takes place in like a school. I mean, Zodiac Academy is literally the name of the series, but I think it's like a fantasy school, which I think is really cool and different from other fantasy books that I've read. I've also seen a lot of fan art about this book on Book Talk, so consider me interested. Another fantasy series that I want to read that's on KU is The Crowns of Nyaxia by Carissa Broadbent. Now, I've never read anything from Carissa Broadbent, but I've heard really good things about the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and when I found out they were on KU, I was like, perfect, add them to the TBR. I know they were indie published and then maybe traditionally published. I may be totally wrong and just misunderstood, but I've heard great things. There's also some novellas in the series, which we love, and I think there's a new book in the series coming out soon. I'm not entirely sure. To be totally honest, I really wanted to read this series because of Raven-Haired Reader. I know Rachel loves these books, and I was immediately like, I trust her, like, add it to the TBR. The next 3 series are a little different than what I typically reach for, but they are dark romances. I definitely want to do a reading vlog on at least one of these, so if you have any particular one that you'd like to see, let me know. But the first one is the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Devil's Night, I feel like, is popular. I feel like I see more of it talked about around Halloween, which probably makes sense just from the bits and pieces that I've seen about this series, but heard great things. I'm a little nervous when it comes to dark romance because I haven't read too much of that genre. I do own Butcher and Blackbird, but I haven't come around to reading it just yet, but maybe I'll jump into one of these after I've given that one a try. I have the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. These are villain retellings, so I think that could be really fun. Yeah, I know each book in the series follows a different villain, and Emily's still working on them, I believe. So I think those would be a really fun read. Again, might be a good way to dip my toe into the dark romance pond. I don't really know. If you've read any of these dark romance series, let me know down below what you thought of them. Please no spoilers, obviously, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Last one is another author that might surprise y'all that I haven't read, but it is the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. Now, I know these books from a mile away. I've seen their covers so many times, and they are really pretty, and I think this Brutal Birthright series is like a mafia romance. I may be completely wrong. Again, I feel like I say that about a lot of things because I just see something and assume it's right and then misremember it. But I think they're a mafia romance. The one thing that stands out to me about the physical copies of these books is that they include pictures, I think. Again, I'm pretty sure they include pictures, but hopefully the KU editions of them include them as well. But I'm excited. These each have like a couple of books in the series, so who knows when I might come around to reading them, but in my notes, I'm crossing them out once I have done so, just so I can keep track. All right, that is everything at the moment that's on my KU TBR. Like I said, let me know if there are any specific reading vlogs you'd like to see. I've been having a lot of fun with reading vlogs, so I want to make as many as possible, especially on books or series that y'all love and want to see yourself. Let me know down below what is on your KU TBR. If you have Kindle Unlimited, if you don't and are thinking about it, I definitely recommend looking into it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow me on my social media links all down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.